water, boy. He been on hype.
Get him the max.
Super max. What's up, everybody? We here live from the 215 Philly Uncensored Sports Podcast. Back at you. Another video after a couple days off. Welcome, everybody. Welcome all. Be live, but if you don't catch us live, you catch us on the platform, YouTube, Spotify, Facebook, Instagram, and iTunes. Yeah, it was an interesting game tonight. Hawks started off without Trae, was in a commanding lead for the most part of the game. Milwaukee looked like they about to make a little run, and then out of nowhere, the unthinkable happened for if you're a Milwaukee fan anyway. Giannis' knee went back and hyperflare. It kind of looked like it was interesting. It looked like exactly like how Joel Embiid joint looked when he got hurt for us. And once that happened, then Atlanta really just took off. It was a wrap after that. So, but what's your thoughts? I mean, do y'all think Giannis that mattered? If he still would have played, would they lose, or what's your thought?
Oh, they was losing this game anyway. Atlanta just brought it. I mean, even when Giannis was in there, it wasn't. Giannis shot a couple air balls from the free throw line and 3-point. Middleton was off. I mean, Atlanta just they did what you're supposed to do in that type of situation. You back at home, star down, everybody, it was like all hands on deck. They was getting help from players. They ain't even like Cam Reddish came in, they was getting some quality minutes. You had Lou Will was holding it down. And then who was the other? It was somebody else that was in there that it was like he hadn't been getting no minutes, and all of a sudden he was in. Oh, Teague, even though he looked like he was scared to shoot. But listen, the coach had him riled up. The players came in and they balled out. You got to give them props. They did what they were supposed to do.
That's facts. That's facts.
The boy Nate McMillan is going to get a nice pay increase after the season. That interim title is going to be completely stripped from him.
He doesn't want to be a head coach.
He's going to be a head coach.
I'm just telling you, that's what they've been trying to give him, but he said he's not sure if he wants to head coach, if he wants to be a head coach.
He got fired from his last job. It wasn't he didn't resign from that job. I mean, I see what you're saying, but
I'm just telling you what I seen. That I'm telling you what he said. I hear you, but I'm telling you what he said. I mean,
I guarantee within 48 hours of the conclusion of the season, we'd like to introduce the new head coach of the Atlanta Hawks.
Okay.
Nate I kind of disagree with you when you said that you think that Atlanta was going to win. They were balling the whole game, but that third quarter, Giannis was getting off. He scored 14 points in that quarter, and he had cut the lead to single digits. The momentum was kind of shifting, and he was putting that work in. But once he got injured in that play, that was it. That was the game. To me, that's when the game became over. But I think it had been a little bit closer than what it was had Giannis not got injured during that third period.
All right, now. I gotta say, I was a real supporter of Chris Middleton, man. He's let me down big time. This guy, he disappears so much in games. He's Toby 2.0. Toby disappeared too. He disappears so much in games. Come on, him and Drew. Even Drew, I was bigging up Drew to sign to Drew. I was like, it's huge. Now all of a sudden, Drew's disappearing. I don't know what's going on with this Milwaukee team. These guys, they in and out of games, they disappear. In and out of games mean not showing up to play.
Mm-hmm. But that's why I say sometimes we talking about living in the moment. The same way it was like John Collins. John Collins.
I knew you was going
back. Give John Collins the max. John Collins is better than Toby. John Collins is better than Middleton. They got the max. Collins should get the max. Sometimes you got to go off of what Bulls' track records is, and I'm just saying that to say the same way I will rip Toby and we rip Toby, everybody rip Toby or whatever. It's different when you're watching a player day in, day out, and you see their inadequacies.
No, I agree. I mean, Collins ain't make no argument for himself tonight, so I'm not going to get on here and grandstand for no Collins. But I shout out to Torrey Temple, a couple people that's in here. I mean, D Market, what's up? Torrey Temple said, "We the South, we the South." So I can't be mad. Y'all represented. I mean,
here too.
Let me. Hambino, what's up?
Our first ATL connection.
No, I asked the letter fans this? Do y'all think y'all better team at least defensively without Trae? Because from what I saw, I would say y'all better defensive team without Trae because y'all, I mean, they were swarming Milwaukee. As much as we want to hate on Giannis, I mean, not Giannis, on Middleton and Drew, they didn't really get too many clean looks. Now, when they did, they were still breaking. But that defense from Atlanta was on point. I would have to say Herter was balling, Capella, even when they brought the young bull who was hurt back up in there. What's his name?
Reddish.
Yeah, he came back in there. He was hooping defensively. They played a very good team game, and that's how they won that game. So, not saying that they could go without Trae. I'm not. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that. But I think from a defensive standpoint, they are a better team without Trae because they actually do a lot to cover for his deep defensive inadequacies, which a lot of times puts them in messed up situations and allows the other team sometimes to get easy buckets. I mean, that's my thought on it. But.
Hey, Wesley, hey, listen, bro, if you want to come in here and brag. Yeah, listen, if it was my squad and we came back home and we did this and we put the smack down like that, I'm going to be hype and brag. You got every right if you're an Atlanta fan to feel that kind of way. Because guess what? Bucks fans would have been ready to smack y'all down and talk trash to y'all if they'd have pulled it off on one. We came on y'all court and we gave y'all the business.
What's it, 2-2? Bucks did one on their court. They won the last game on their court.
They did.
Yeah, but I'm saying if the Bucks was to come in here and beat Atlanta on their court, you don't think the Bucks fans would puff their chest out? That's what I'm saying. So if you're an Atlanta fan, you got every right to feel how you feel about this right now. Now, the one thing I will say about Trae, like I agree about the defensive part, but at least in the early part of the game, you see where they miss Trae Young handles the ball a whole lot into the paint and gets a lot of open shots for a lot of dudes. And early in the game, Atlanta really wasn't getting as much scoring.
He want the Warriors.
Listen, you gonna feel the Warriors? Yo, hey, yo, what's that? How you say that? Bravo. I guess is how you say it. BRYVO. Listen, either one, whoever's representing. Now, if they happen to meet together, we'll have that conversation when we get there. I gotta rock with Philly. First of all, Steph is my man, but he already got a couple championships. So if I'm in the Philly, the Sixers me, I gotta go with the Sixers. But I would just be happy the Warriors got to the championship. But I definitely root for the Sixers. But I actually think I agree with you, Wayne. I think Trae, from the way it looked tonight, Trae makes Collins better. Like he one of them boys who set Collins up for easy buckets, easy hoops. Without him, you could see the boy Collins game. And this is just one game, so I don't want to be living in a moment or overreacting. So it could just be Collins had an off night. It wasn't his night. But from what I'll base it off of our series when we got spanked. Mm-hmm. Collins looked incredible because of Trae. Trae would draw the defense and he would give Collins easy passes, a lot of easy oops. We saw the one he caught on B that he put in a t-shirt. If I'm not mistaken, that pass was from Trae. So he was able to do a lot based on what Trae was able to do for him. So now when you take Trae out the equation, so goes his game. Possibly, but Lou stepped up big time. The defense stepped up. I mean, did y'all think y'all like Wayne said, y'all got a right to be in y'all bag about this. That was something.
Yeah, I don't know if this is good going forward for Milwaukee. I mean, it's one game.
It's that Giannis. Everything is all about Giannis.
Giannis got hurt. I mean, you letting Cam Reddish get comfortable again playing. I mean, you just letting the Hawks get deeper and healthy, which I don't think is good for Milwaukee.
Yeah, and nobody saw this coming. If somebody said that Atlanta Hawks will be representing the East in the finals this year,
it ain't over yet. It's 2-2.
It's not over.
Yeah, and Milwaukee actually got home court advantage back. Let's not forget that.
Yeah,
true. But I like what Atlanta is doing, and y'all keep talking about the boy Collins, but athletically speaking, at that wing position, he looks pretty sharp right there. He matches up well. My concern again with the Bucks is going back to Middleton. His inconsistency is shown, and you need him to be not equally as great because one thing if you notice about the other teams out west, they got people that's stepping up. It's not just the same players that's stepping up each game. And you need to have that consistency with Middleton and with the boy Drew Holiday. You're not getting that at all. Sometimes they're good, but a lot of times they're off.
Again, he's 0 for 7 from 3. One game he was 0 for 9.
He was 2 for 7 overall.
But then again, to them, they play a lot of hero ball too, which I don't like.
Who's this?
They play a lot of one. They play a lot of hero ball. They play a lot of one-on-one.
Oh, yeah.
It's mainly him and Drew though. Him and Drew.
That's their whole team.
What? You know who else I was looking for? For some reason I couldn't find him a lot. What was the boy you was texting me about the other day, Ephraim?
Who you talking about? Lopez?
Oh, yeah, that's his name. Lopez. Yeah, that's his name, Lopez.
Lopez is 3 for 6.
Drew, like,
he was 3 for 6. He was 3 for 6. He's 50%. He should have shot more. You had Ethan Bull, Middleton, and Drew taking all the shots. He couldn't even get to a rhythm.
What was rebounds look like though? Because I mean,
his rebounds. He had 8 rebounds. No, 5 rebounds.
Yeah, he is 7-footer. Ain't no other 7-footer on the court. Come on, bro.
But at the same time, they was using him to come out for some reason.
And he should have got a bunch of rebounds because his teammates was bricking. So he should have had a whole heap of rebounds.
I tell you, he was grabbing rebounds. That boy, what's his name? Connaughton was grabbing all him and Whatchamacallit was at one point in the game was grabbing every offensive rebound that seemed to come off the glass for some reason. But I gotta give my, but y'all mentioned it, but the Bull the coach that I keep forgetting their coach name.
Nate McMillan.
Yeah, Nate McMillan. You gotta tip your hat to how he kept his team engaged. Even because I think they said Lou found out he was starting. I think he said like an hour before the game, he found out, Trae wasn't going to play. But he always told him, stay ready, stay focused. And Lou had his best game since the game he cooked Steph. Yeah, that's game 5. He stepped up with 7 for 9. I think he missed his first shot like in the fourth quarter. It was late in the third, like the fourth quarter. So tip off. Hats off to y'all, Atlanta fans. Yo, hey, Matt, what's up, my man? Matt in the chat. What's up, Matt? What's up?
What you notice but with Atlanta, they trust each other. That's the reason why they winning the way they win, because they buy into their system, and there's not a lot of hero ball. Whoever's out there, they're gonna make that extra pass, and you see it. I seen it with our last series with Philadelphia, and I'm seeing it again. Like, it's just no matter who's out there.
So Trae don't play hero ball to an extent.
He still plays within the system. You notice a lot of
Trae plays a little hero ball, but all 3 of them play hero ball.
But
with Trae, is like he's still putting up 12, 13 assists a game in these series, is because he's ball dominant, but he still passes the ball a lot.
If you watch Middleton threes, though, but if you like,
go ahead, my fault, Ethan. Go ahead.
If you watch Middleton shoot a lot of his threes, they not where he kicked over to the corner or somebody kick it over to him. It's him pulling up on somebody. It ain't like Drew feeding him. It ain't like Giannis feeding him. It's him stepping back and pulling up on somebody. Which to me, hero ball. They don't really have a lot of ball movement on offense. You ask me. I don't like.
You think B play hero ball?
Yeah.
Don't get Tim started on hate.
But you rip B for it, but you just giving Trae all this praise about because he gets assists in the
no, because there's a wait. If you want to be fair about this, with Embiid turns the ball over at high volumes, and then what he does is he takes too long to make a decision. He's not a quick thinker on a court. He's going up and down, and before he make the shot, then he's gonna shoot the ball. If Atlanta, the ball's out there hitting real fast, everything is moving, the offense is run smoothly.
Well, maybe because their whole team is coached well, and they move because they did a lot of moving the ball around without him in there at certain points too.
Exactly. They still moving with him in there too.
Yeah, with him, without.
They do. It's fun. The way he got that system going, because I've spoken this before, how Trae sometimes for several possessions it might be him and somebody else touch the ball, but then at other increments, everybody's engaged enough still to be engaged. You know what I'm saying? So he's running a masterful system. It's a very balanced system, and it's I honestly feel it's hanging on by a thread because it could go either way. Because this is why they got problems over there in Dallas with your bull, Luka, and nobody seemed to like Luka because Luka dominated the ball too much, and he had issues. It came out that a couple players. It was a couple. It was Porzingis, and I think they said if the coach didn't like him, the coach left for the Luka. Yeah. And they said some of the players off the record kind of you hearing rumblings that they don't really bang with the boy like that. So I mean, I'm not saying
if Luka leave, that team ain't sniffing the playoffs for years.
Oh, this we know. This we know. But my thing is, my point I'm making is when you have a person who's ball dominant, it's a very balanced approach that you have to run to make sure everybody's so happy. Because these dudes are still NBA players, they still feel worthy. Look at Herter. Herter, I mean, he was off, but he made some huge shots, 2-point wise, but his three was breaking. But Gallinari, you got dudes who feel unworthy to be in this thing and to be to legit be able to ball. And even though Trae dominates the ball, the way they run the offense, these dudes still get to do their thing. So
I gotta ask y'all something. Somebody said something in the comments and it brought it up to me. You know, Dwight Howard was at the game the other day, the Atlanta game. Does that bother y'all?
No, he lives in Atlanta. Why would it bother you if he live in Atlanta?
I just asked the question. Does that bother you?
If it's a game in the city that I live in, why not? I would go.
But you got to think about what happened.
Ben Simmons went to the game.
You got to think about what happened.
If I played for the New York Knicks but lived in Philly and we out the playoffs and the Sixers coming home to play, you're not gonna go watch the Sixers game?
That's a violation. It's a violation. He is a free agent. Played them in a series less than a week ago. Now the next week, not only are you there at the game, but you're in the front row looking at the same team that just beat you.
So
who does that?
I think more than you think does it.
No, name somebody that ever. Name somebody. Tell me somebody who did that before. Exactly.
Well, for one, Brown probably would, except for the fact that LeBron and Cleveland ain't gonna never make it there without LeBron in there.
No, I said name a situation.
I don't see
where
it, but I don't
player, another athlete.
It's the typical fans, and you supposed to be loyal to us and have no life but what we want. The same boys in Philly that wanted to go fight Mike Scott because he was a Redskins fan and all that type stuff. That's dumb stuff, man.
As a player,
they got a life, bro. They got a life. It ain't like he tanked against them.
I want somebody either though as a player.
I want somebody to try to fight the White because he was at that game.
Yeah, I dare him. I dare him.
Now, with that being said,
bonk your head and grab your butt.
What you trying to say? So what you trying to say?
I'm not trying to say nothing. Let's move on.
Yeah, we know.
What I will say, it depends on how Joe he was being. Like every time I saw him, he was kind of just sitting there front row. I didn't see him being hyped. If he was in there hyped cheering for Atlanta, then I have a little bit of problem. But if you just watching the game,
I agree with that part.
You just watching the game, I'm not too mad at you. It's entertainment. It's all entertainment. But if you was in there waving the towel, you bouncing it down, then I'm like, ho, calm down.
Doing the dirty bird.
Yeah, exactly. Then you do it too much. But real quick, Tori, you're right. That shot by Capella over the backboard that's when you know when a ball hit the shot. Yes, that's when you know the game over. They could have wrapped that game up right there. You got a new Capella who can shoot a lick, a free throw, or nothing, and hits this Larry Bird type shot.
We used to call that Bird back in the day when we
because that was the Bird shot. And when Bird shot it,
like your Bird, that's
it ain't even. But it ain't count when Bird shot it. It got disqualified because they was going over the top.
Yeah.
At that point, you know the game is over. That shot was incredible, though. I mean, it looked from the looks of it, you would think if that's the only shot you ever saw him shoot, you'd be like, man, Bull can shoot. He crazy.
Yeah, y'all being here ready to give him a max contract. Like you, Bull Capella, the super max. You see that shot?
Yep.
It was like Dame or somebody. Everybody like, oh my God, that was crazy.
Yeah, because you was hyped to give Toby that max contract.
Actually, I wasn't.
He's the highest player on our team.
I was.
Yep.
I wasn't hype about Toby. I wasn't hype about Toby, and I wasn't hype about Ben getting a contract. But I
know Toby's the highest paid player on our team.
Yeah.
Okay.
Wayne, you want to speak on that? That's your man's.
That's your man's. In the NBA, him and Middleton get the same money. In the NBA, it's just a matter of when your contract comes up. Before Giannis re-signed his contract, Middleton was getting more than him. That's just the way that the NBA goes. That's all I'm saying with that. I'd rather have Jimmy than Toby. That's who I wanted that year if I had to choose between the two. But the Sixers don't get free agents like that. And that's what some of these teams got to look at is, can they bring in free agents? If you can't bring in free agents and you have quality players that's demanding a certain amount of money, you got to re-sign them players. That's just the way that is.
No, that's true.
Sixers ain't build. They ain't build a good team. They ain't do no good draft. They ain't build a good team at all.
Who y'all like?
Sixers.
Before we switch topics and go back to Sixers, who y'all like in the next game, game 5?
I don't know. I gotta see if Giannis playing. I gotta look at the injury report.
With Trae too. Is Trae playing? Is Giannis playing? I mean, it's gonna be real.
It's more about Giannis playing than Trae because we seen what happened when Trae don't play.
Well, it makes a difference too when you on your home court. Usually, your bench plays a little better at home. So, go
ahead, my fault.
No, that's all I was saying.
They were hitting like crazy.
I didn't foresee, and I said this in the very game 1. Milwaukee stunk that joint up from the 3, and I didn't foresee them shooting this bad again. And somehow they did it. They did it again. They went 8 for 39 from 3. They was 20%. I did not see them shooting this bad again in this series, and they did.
Wait, the Bull Crooked Fire asked a question. I would like to hear Ephraim's take on this, especially. He said, "Would it be different if Dwight had a brother that plays for the Hawks and he roots for him?"
Yeah, that's crazy. Yeah, if your family there, that's a little.
Because it was okay when Steph did it for Seth, right?
Yeah, that's cool. You got a brother, yeah, that's cool. Yeah, if you got family, no, real rap though. Like, if you got family, I can't be mad at that. I can't be mad if you got family rooting for your family. But if you just rooting just to root, even though.
But let's get it straight. I didn't see him rooting. I don't think he was rooting. He was just there watching.
I didn't see him either. Every time I saw him, he was just sitting down. Like,
y'all know if KD was at the next Bucks game, y'all would have had a fit.
Is KD from Milwaukee?
Is the White ain't from Atlanta? He just lit here.
Yes,
is he from here or just lit here?
He's from Atlanta.
He just lit here.
He's from Atlanta.
He just lit here.
Where's the White from? Wait, love throwing out.
He just lit here.
And we confirm he's from Atlanta.
Okay.
You just saying that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Is he a fan or is he just that's his homeland? Which one?
We gotta find that out. Oh yeah, actually he is.
Exactly, like I said, and he's not just Georgia. He's from Atlanta, Georgia. Like I said,
yeah, Dwight was born in
Atlanta. Straight out of high school.
Yeah, so I mean, like I said, I'm not mad that he was there. If he was in there being too Joe and celebrating and dancing and bebopping, I'd have been a little bit more salty. But you being at the game, I'm not mad at you. I'm not mad at you. What's up with what y'all think about playoff P? Stepping up and balling. All right, let me say this about playoff P first. Atlanta fans, I salute y'all. We might talk about y'all game a little more. Y'all did y'all thing. All the clues in the world. Now y'all in a real series now. But playoff P, I got to get his due credit. Normally we talk about, we've firsthand witnessed the mental destruction of a player from our team, Ben Simmons, when he really couldn't, at a certain point, he couldn't put it together mentally. He was torn down from the free throw line to not even taking wide open dunks and all this stuff, not even wanting the ball when he crossed half court.
Like we witnessed the same thing last year with playoff P, but go ahead.
No, that's what I'm getting to. We witnessed, but the way he even in his playoffs, he choked away one legit game and pretty much another with missing clutch free throws at the end. But the way he held it together and came back after each of them games, because remember, he choked away the one game, missed 2 straight free throws, they lost. Then they came back the next game, he had a good game, they won. Then he missed free throws in the next game late, and then he came back again and went off. He shot 70%, 8 for 8 from free throw. He was balling. I gotta give credit for a player who receives that type of criticism and don't fold. I gotta say, you a mentally tough dude. I gotta tip my hat to playoff P.
I mean, I saw the game last because, and the crazy thing is, the commentators they was coming at the Paul George hard. They were saying he needed to be more aggressive in the first half, and then he exploded for 20 points in the third quarter yesterday. Then he I think he had another 10 points in the fourth quarter. Yep. So he was consistent throughout the entire game. He balled, but the role players also was balling yesterday too, like the boy Reggie Jackson.
Reggie Jackson was the MVP.
Yeah, to me, he was the strongest candidate.
Okay,
why was he the MVP, Wayne? Go ahead. Why was he the MVP?
Well, because didn't we say Seth Curry was the Sixers MVP because he scored more than what he?
No. Why did I say
because
Steph
of
Curry
his
was?
efficiency and he scored more than even though he gave up more points than he scored, but I mean he was our MVP, so that means Portis, no matter what, see you got to expect that. You expect that from PG.
First of all,
so
he didn't give.
Portis is there.
He didn't give up.
Jackson is the MVP, right?
He didn't give up more points than he scored, so stop saying that. That's not true. He gave up some buckets, but it wasn't
about the same.
That game.
It was about equal.
No, it wasn't.
Revenue.
That
His
game,
plus minus was about +2.
That game y'all talking about, Lou had like 15 points and Steph had 30 something. So he didn't give up just as much as he scored. But his efficiency was through the roof. That's why I said he was playing like our MVP.
Let me ask y'all something. We gotta ask the question again that we talked about in the last podcast. Is Pat Bev dirty?
Pat Bev a sucker. They're like,
No,
he do.
not.
Unless he is.
So hold on.
Wait, is Draymond Green dirty?
And with that question, was that a flop on Chris Paul?
It
or
was a
that
flop. You saw how he didn't land. The way he landed was
he landed on his back?
That was no flop.
Chris Paul lands on his back every time he shoots. Looking at that last game, every time he goes to shoot a three, he planks in the middle of shooting.
He's a professional flopper. That's what he does.
Bro, ain't nobody landed on their back from 3 feet up in the air.
He do it all the time.
No, he don't.
He been doing that. He probably been doing that since he was 2 years old.
In the middle he shoot in the middle of shooting, he plank and just fall back down.
In Pat Bev defense, he was just fighting around the screen. I think it was perfect timing the way he clipped Paul in the air. But the way he acted after Paul hit the ground, I thought was sucker time. Like you kind of taunting the ball and like kind of teasing him. It's like, yo, the ball landed directly on his back. Now, thankfully, he was cool, but that wasn't Chris Paul wasn't floppy. He might have been trying to get the foul, but once he got undercut, he was in the air, free falling on his back.
That's the boy who cried wolf. You flop enough, I don't believe you.
Gambino said Reggie Jackson has the most 3-pointers made in the playoffs. Playoffs. I gotta check that.
No, Reggie is legit balling. He is legit. And I remember I was saying this to somebody.
Wait, real quick for the record. No, PG is their MVP. That was me trolling for something that somebody else in here said. But PG is definitely the MVP. But Reggie, and that's like, listen, let's not forget the Philly boy was out there balling too. The Morris twin, like he was carrying them early on too.
He kept them in the game early.
He is really like they Chris Middleton. He's the most up and down dude on a team though. He'll go 9 for 9 one game and then go 0 for 9 the next game.
But you got a lot of dudes in the NBA like that though. That's what I'm saying. Sometimes we get caught in watching our guys and not realize it's a lot of dudes like that in the NBA.
That's true. No, I can't hate on that.
Wait, real quick. Hey, Hustle Man, we know Lou from Atlanta. You know, we remember. But see, if you want to be claiming everybody from Atlanta, then you claim Bow Wow too. Don't try to pass on Bow Wow because him. You know, I remember when he did the Cribs joint, and him and Lou Will was down there in ATL. I remember that.
Yeah, you're right. Stop hating on Bow Wow.
Lou Will was for the whole series. I think the whole show.
What happened?
What'd you say?
I think Lou Will was dribbling the basketball the whole show.
No, he was like sitting by the pool. I remember that joint because it was like he was like, "Yeah, this my man Lou. He going to the league." Bow Wow.
Okay, Ms. 35 said Reggie Jackson a free agent after this year. Y'all want to?
I was about to say that.
Absolutely.
I just said that
he about to get paper though. He about to get paid that paper spread, them greenbacks.
But that's the kind of player that we need on our team.
He'll come to our team and he'll look like Danny Green.
First, before
I thought you was liking Danny Green. How you hating on
me?
He's streaky.
Oh no, right. No, wait. This why I'm pausing real quick though. I gotta check and see what his career numbers are. Because it could be a case of a bull about to have his contract up and all of a sudden he's balling out of control.
That's what happens.
Then after the bull get the contract, then at the
all-star mode, like Ben Simmons all-star mode.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? You ball out because you're trying to get what you want to get. Then all of a sudden when you get it, it's like, you know what I'm saying? I ain't got to do all that.
No he plays hard. He always played hard.
He's a career 12-point a game scorer.
What percentage?
He's a career 12-point a game scorer.
What percentage? Shooting
percentage? His field goal percentage career is 43 and 3-point is 34. His last 2 years have been his best ever.
Okay.
He might have tapped into the matrix.
Yeah, I mean, he might have just been stepping into that.
He actually shot 43% this year from field goal.
Yeah. How old is he?
Okay.
I don't know. That's a good question. How old is he, Ethan? I know
31. He's 31.
31 is man. I'm not mad at 31. How old is Seth? But how ain't that like how old Seth is now?
I think he's in his 20s.
Reggie Jackson shooting for the playoffs. He's shooting 49% field goal. And he's shooting 41% from three.
He's shooting incredible in the playoffs. Can he keep that up?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Is that going to be what he gives you on the record?
He's averaging 18 points as well too, and he's shooting 86% from the free throw line. So he's playing. I mean, he's playing sensational right now.
We talk a little bit about the bull Tyronn Lue.
Oh yeah, you got that. Oh man,
Steph Curry 30.
As much credit as you giving Nate McMillan, you gotta give Tyronn Lue equal credit. I mean, losing Kawhi in the middle of your playoff run and keeping that team together at the bounce going down 2 times, or actually 3 times. Now this would be the 3rd time, right? They went down 3 times, but they ain't winning series yet. But every series they started off 0-2 and they managed to get themselves right back into it. Now they still down 3-2, but if they win this series, I mean, you can't do nothing.
It's over next game. It's a wrap.
This is one of the reasons. Like I didn't even want to over. Well, first of all, do
they said Lou Will 34.
Do the Clippers play this well if Kawhi is still playing? Does PG play this well if Kawhi is playing?
He was playing well with Kawhi during the playoffs.
He's been having a good playoffs this year.
Okay,
but Kawhi was the dominant superstar on the team.
Okay.
But as far as the bull tie has been put. He said Rondo. Everybody was like, "Oh, Rondo gonna be playing all these minutes." He's making key adjustments. If you feel that dude ain't gonna help the team, they not gonna play. He's not loyal to no players. Doc Rivers was a loyal to some of his guys. Like,
yeah, who's he too loyal to? Hold on, who's he too loyal to?
Who, Doc?
Yeah,
Joel Embiid.
See, why you even gonna ask him that? Why you gonna ask him that?
He just walk him out the plank and he just want to walk him out the plank, let him hang himself.
He
was too loyal to Ben. He should have been too loyal to Ben.
He just had. I had to agree. Ty Lue. One thing that, but when your bull, Monty, I don't know what the game plan was, but I'm trying to figure out how Zubac is out. And
injured. He's injured.
No, I know. But why does Ayton only have 9 points? This is what I'm trying to figure out. You got the tallest.
I don't think he's usually their scorer. He's like
he's not a real dominant
rebounder. Okay, but they biggest man on the court, they starting lineup, they tallest dude with the Morris brother and he's 6'8".
No, I agree with you. But maybe it got something to do with your Hall of Fame point guard that jack up all these planking 3-point shots. And maybe
Chris Paul don't shoot a lot of threes,
but he was shooting a lot yesterday.
He only shot 3 threes yesterday. I think.
I'm talking about shooting in general. He was shooting a lot.
Okay.
And the thing is, even though like if let's say Embiid went down, you're not all of a sudden gonna run your offense through Capella. You're still gonna run your offense.
Embiid, Capella.
No, he's
I see what you're saying. Yeah, you're not.
Yeah, they still going to run it.
Not that type of ball, Ayton not that. But Ayton has been balling in this playoffs. He's been legit
doing what he's doing. What he's been doing. Not just running the offense. Like, okay, let's take advantage. I see what you're saying. Let's take advantage of the mismatch because you got a 6'8" dude on you. But if that's not his game,
it wasn't Herter. Okay, it wasn't Herter's game neither. And Nick McMillan went in there and put Herter right up against Steph and worked him. How many times you seen him run the offense through Herter? But when the opportunity struck, regardless, my thing is you go for the mismatch. I don't see why. This is why Nick McMillan is winning. This is why you as a coach, even they talked about Scottie Pippen through the bull whatchamacallit in the bus, and I think he was right. He talked about Steve Nash and how much he played Kevin Durant. He said, "Yo, you wore him down in the fourth quarter, KD. You played KD 48 minutes, like 3 straight games. You don't think he's gonna be wore down by game 7?
I don't think the reason that they beat them was because of their offense. The offense, it was for real. It was the defense. They just couldn't stop Paul. They couldn't stop them. They couldn't stop Paul George. They couldn't stop the Morris twin in the first quarter, and then in the fourth quarter they couldn't stop Reggie. I keep wanting to call him Bobby Jackson. Reggie. They couldn't stop Reggie. So I'm just saying a lot of that had to do with the defense, and you're supposed to have these great defensive, these good defense. You got Bridges. Where was Bridges? Who was Bridges on? Who was Bridges?
Kind of quiet. He was kind of quiet yesterday.
But my thing is, you're right. But my thing is, they were settling for a lot of jump shots.
But that's their game.
Devin Booker, I understand that, but this is what, once again, we talking about coaching and going for the mismatches. First of all, that's the first thing I'm gonna strike is a closer basket to a bigger man who has a height advantage. Then if I see my dudes missing Chris Paul, Devin Booker, I'm gonna even turn it up even more to go to 8, and because they off. To me, it's just, I don't know. It's a no-brainer to go for the mismatch when they missing a big man.
So let me ask you this then. The other two coaches we're giving props to, right? Mm-hmm. Where did they make a change where they stopped going to their star players and started going to somewhere where they felt it was a mismatch?
I just told you what.
You talking about Herder?
Yeah, Herder's not a star. He's a grown player, and they milked him against the bull Seth because he had.
Not just him. Whoever Seth was on, they made sure to go. Yeah, Nate. Now I give Nate the props because Nate did wherever Seth was, they wanted to run the switch up.
You do.
But where did you see this going on with the Clippers? Though?
First of all, wasn't nobody hype about the Sixers.
To me, the Clippers.
Go ahead.
The boy Miz says
the whole thing. The whole point about the Clippers is you got these dudes on the Clippers that was balling. Like you just their dudes was balling. I don't think it was necessarily
Chris Paul wasn't balling. Chris Paul been off in his whole series.
Chris Paul he played the first 2 games, did he?
My point is the games he played, he's off. You know what he is? He like 6 foot.
Hold on. You ain't gonna do that because when Seth came back, you screamed about this COVID fatigue. He got to recover from COVID. If Seth gets that pass, Chris Paul get the same pass.
Seth got like 6 months of pass.
Y'all not listening to me. I'm not hating on Chris Paul. I'm saying, why didn't you run your offense through Ayton instead of Chris Paul, who just came back off of Rona? This is my point.
He didn't. He was asymptomatic. He was asymptomatic. He didn't have any joints.
That don't mean he ain't got COVID fatigue.
But no,
you don't know what it do to you.
The boy Miz 35. He said the same thing I told you earlier. He said, "Did you hear a report during a coaching hiring process that Joel didn't want Ty?" And I brought this up earlier.
Yeah, we heard that mess, and I believe it.
It was true. It was true.
Okay.
And the thing is that we had a younger coach. He was a younger coach. He wasn't loyal to any of the players. And you see the end game adjustments that Ty Lue.
I think he would have been out on them free throws and shooting. Yeah, he'd have been made some adjustments on that,
or design plays throughout the season for him to work on his game.
See, that's why I don't go down this path.
No.
What play does anybody design for Penn? You can't design something for somebody that's not going to shoot.
Keep in mind, Ben Simmons did not have an off season last year because he was recovering from knee surgery. There was no practice. There was no working on any game because he was recovering.
So what year did he work on his game?
Triplet hating over there.
Now after that, you come into a.
What year did he ever work on his game?
They only had
all of a sudden this year he was going to work on his game. What other year did he work on his game?
6 weeks off, and then they right back into the season to a brand new NBA season. So at that point, the only time, and then you're not practicing every day or every other day. So the only time that you can work on a game is pretty much during shoot-arounds. We're going to implement this play for Ben Simmons, but Doc Rivers took that off the plate. He didn't put it. It wasn't even part of it.
Where was what's his name? Where was he coaching last year? Tyronn. Where was Lou coaching last year?
He was on the bench with Doc.
So he was still with this team. The same way you sitting up here and you trying to say Ben didn't get this off season. New coaches in other places didn't get off season. Now that's why I say Nate McMillan didn't get an off season with this team.
Lou wasn't with the Sixers.
No. Tyronn Lue was with the Clippers. Lou was with the Clippers, right? On the bench.
Yeah.
So around that team, it's not like he's coming into a fresh situation where he's just developing this whole new team.
Hey, first of all, triplet three. First of all, let's be clear about this. The Sixers, I'ma never not say this. I don't care how that series turned out. We were a better team. We should have won. Do you realize, triplet three, that we had y'all every game except the first game? At some point in the game, we led by like 20 points, except game 7. Like we were spanking y'all every game. Now a couple games y'all came back, y'all won. Yeah, that's all one good. But we were a better team who got out-coached, in my opinion, toward the end. and we had our point guard who normally, and I agree with Wayne when Wayne say this, if Ben would have played normal Ben, I feel we win that series easy. That series should have been over in 5. However, y'all won. Y'all did your thing. Y'all coach stepped up. He did his thing. Y'all hit some huge shots. Y'all won. But let's not act like we had a reason to feel like our team was better. We were the number 1 seed, and y'all was the 5 seed for a reason. So, because he said, and the reason why I went on this little tirade, he said that we more humble now that the Sixers is out and all this stuff like that. We had a reason to feel arrogant about our team because they played hard all year and earned that number 1 seed.
Yeah. But I don't think any of us we felt like if things fell in place, we could win a chip. But I don't think we felt like we matched up better against the Nets at full strength. So we weren't all
I was questioning
anyway.
us against the Bucks too.
So was a homer, so to speak.
I'm not a homer. I'm not a homer. I know it's because you always try to call me one, unless you're talking about. But my whole point of it is,
Simmons being more homers than you with this Ben Simmons thing is starting.
I just don't think I don't automatically see because somebody signs free agency. Oh, I don't believe in the on paper stuff. I got to see it formulate. And my biggest thing that I was saying about even with the Nets is none of them guys was playing. They never got a chance to all play together. Like where was their continuity going to come in? And then it ends up happening because KD took his time to come back because he wanted to rest up for the postseason, and Kyrie did his little stuff. They burned Harden out. And that's why Harden got hurt.
That was coaching.
No, that was those other players that didn't show up to play.
That was the coaching because the coach played for the regular season and not for the playoffs. And he had
what was he supposed to do? Sit Harden too? They set the starters. He
had the balance. They was going to make the playoffs. Once you make the playoffs, once you're in, they can roll. But he burned Harden out. That was coaching. You sit him down.
You saying they would have made the playoffs? The numbers that Harden put up by himself on that team, if they would have dialed Harden back, they wasn't winning them games the way they was winning them.
They don't got to be second seed either. They don't got to be second seed.
How you know they wouldn't have fell further than that if you talking about without Harden?
Once they
make the playoffs, they got the best.
Harden was playing on an MVP. Harden was playing on an MVP level. So to take that off and KD's not coming back to play and Kyrie being erratic and playing when he want to play and everything else, their record would have been drastically worse, in my opinion.
I mean,
when you're dealing with the regular season and when you're dealing with a shortened NBA season where they cramming on them games, you got to think about low managing these players because these are veteran players. They all in their 30s, and you got to look at the big picture.
I mean, it's a good point with that though because I mean. I didn't watch the Nets all season and how they played hard and how many minutes he played and you know when he had breaks and when he took them out and put them back in. But what we did see was him overplay KD in them last 3 games. KD played every minute of every game, if I'm not mistaken, all 3 of them games. And one of them games went into overtime. So one game he played like 53 minutes. So to me, if that was his MO with KD, it could have been the same with Harden. He could have ran Harden a little bit into the ground because you said that earlier and blew Harden hamstrings out. So I mean that possibly could have happened. But real quick, Molly Maul, to answer your question, you said how are y'all a better team if y'all was out coached? My thing is we was out coached. I think Glenn is a good coach, but this we said earlier, he was loyal to a fault with his point guard. Who he didn't expect. Nobody saw this coming with Ben completely falling apart. When Ben fell apart, he rolled with him. I think he was hoping that Ben will make some mental resurgence. And maybe he saw it in practice or his conversation with Ben, and he felt confident enough that Ben was going to be okay, and he didn't. So he did get out coached in that aspect, but I don't think that makes a better team because nobody saw that coming. And
another point to it, he learned a lot about Joel Embiid because remember they said, "Oh, he's so much in good shape. He's so much in good shape." But everybody figured it out. Like,
bro, stop.
Guess what? Oh, if you're tire yourself out, they just rope a dope.
If your all-star point guard would handle the ball and not run from the basketball, you would need your power forward and your center to come up and be the ones that got to initiate the offense. You would need Seth Curry having to come up and bring up the ball instead of just running off the ball. nobody could play their roles because Ben Simmons ran like a chump.
No,
Stop
he was playing hero ball by Joel Embiid, which is why he had 8 turnovers.
Well, Ben played zero ball.
8 turnovers, game
0 in the fourth quarter, every game, 0.
I mean, we seen how Joel performed last year without Ben and this year with Ben. It's the same thing. Bunch of turnovers, scored a bunch of points, but not getting your team in the flow. Like, that's why I appreciate what Paul George did yesterday. Like, Paul George let the game, and I think I heard the commentators say they let the game come to him. He didn't rush anything. That's why. And then he took over when necessary in the third quarter. Joel, I'm gonna get mine now.
I was on the record saying I never liked Doc. I really wasn't that gleeful over the Glenn Rivers sign like everybody else was. I wanted a younger coach up in here. I wanted a new something new up in here, new ideas up in here. I didn't want the same retread coach. I said that already. They brought Glenn in here anyway. He already has like records for choking. Let this dude rest. First of all, anybody that gets fired one day and jumps in the plane and gets hired the next day by another team, I don't trust. Why are you so much in a rush to get hired by another team that fast? Relax.
I agree with what you're saying, but you take that because people thought that this Sixers opportunity was a good opportunity. It wasn't like they was going to OKC to coach where they just got a lot of draft. Like you was coming, a lot of people in the NBA thought the Sixers, you're supposed to have
this is what happens.
The budding superstar.
You gotta do your research. They're not gonna run and hire nobody. If you're a prime candidate, they're gonna wait and talk to you. Do your research about these players first. Learn who you coaching. You coming and sign, you don't even know who you coaching. Ben Simmons got a head case.
You don't think these coaches look at all that?
No,
yes, they do.
No, they don't. You know why? Because you got these dudes around the league who announcing games and who talking sports, don't know jack about what's going on in these cities.
From coaching. That's different from coaching staffs who have to look at film
the same way.
Coaches have to study coaching. They have to study teams if they're going to have to play teams. So even if you only play them twice a week or twice a year, you're looking at when you go to play against them, you're looking at what they do and what they do well. And how you would defend them. You do that. Announcers don't. They don't even watch the games. Look, remember they had Barkley sleep on the couch. Then he gonna wake up at halftime and talk about what happened in the game.
That's what you did today, though. You did the same thing today.
Who? I did. I did the other thing. That's why he come on. I was watching the game.
No, but going back to Doc Rivers, because everybody keeps saying he had them 3 collapses where he was up 3-1. Keep in mind the first time that happened was in Orlando when his team was the 8th seed going against the number 1 seed, the Pistons. And so what happened was when you go up against the 1 seed, eventually in the 7-game series, they usually get their act together. So don't act like he was like the favorite in that particular series. And then the last year when it happened, who knew that Paul George was going to have this colossal mental meltdown because he's in a bubble? It wasn't like this was all of a sudden he was just coaching badly. Paul George lost it.
But Paul George also said, and it's looking like it's a little truth, that he felt Doc was putting him in bad situations that wasn't good. Yeah, that Glenn was putting him in bad situations that wasn't good for him. But my point is though, even with superstars, especially somebody that's like Jordan was a superstar, but would you necessarily ask Jordan to facilitate? Like that's not his role. Jordan can a little bit, but Pimpin was more the facilitator. Jordan was the scorer. So even though Jordan's a great player, you still want him in a role that he can dominate and be comfortable. So everybody like LeBron is and this is why I consider LeBron to be the greatest all-around player ever, because he can fulfill any role that you need to fulfill. Every superstar can't do that. Even Steph Curry, that's like asking Steph Curry to go, I need you to get some more rebounds. Or I need you to get a lot of assists. Steph Curry don't even get that many assists. Like he can do a little bit, but he gets you 6, 7 assists. Every blue moon, he might get you 10. But for the most part, he's a scorer. Like, so a coach has to be able to put people in better situations. So I'm not saying it's all Doc's fault that playoff P was pandemic P, but it's looking a little bit like it because now Lou got that same squad and he got without Kawhi, he got all P balling.
What else is bad? This is the second superstar player that Glenn had collapse on him. First it was Paul, now it's Ben.
Ben's not a superstar.
Ben, first of all, Ben collapsed a long time ago.
Ben's not a superstar. So, wait, hold on. Ethan is calling Ben a superstar?
I just use that to help my analogy for Black.
No, listen. Hey, Marky. And Wesley. This my point. This is my problem about with Embiid. I agree. We all agree. Embiid, that was too many turnovers. But my thing is, when your point guard is running from the ball in the fourth quarter, someone has to handle the ball. Your point guard should be the one handling the ball. So since he's
point guard was out there whiffing though.
Since your point guard is not handling the ball, now the onus is on everybody else to handle the ball more, and that's why you get more turnovers. That's fundamental basketball. If I got a point guard and he don't shoot, his job is to facilitate and play defense. But he did not facilitate on offense because he ran from the ball afraid to get fouled.
So what about last year when Ben wasn't in it? What about last year when Ben wasn't there and they got swept then?
We didn't have a point guard. Who was our point guard?
They didn't have a point guard.
That's the point. We didn't have a point guard. A big man needs a point guard to set him up.
You're supposed to have an all-star point guard who's supposed to be great at facilitating. And he's not, and that's how come in the fourth quarter it was so much where we had so many turnovers because the point guard ran from the ball.
No, he wasn't running. First of all, the bottom line is Joel Embiid 8 turnovers don't got nothing to do with the point guard.
Come on, Tim. It do, like you, Aldrin J. You saying that Tim is? He said I like Tim keeping the balance. Embiid deserves some blame. Nobody's saying Embiid don't deserve blame.
But you're not giving it to him.
The bottom line is no.
Because the bottom line is if Ben Simmons played the way that he was expected to play and the way that he played all season, instead of having a colossal breakdown, he had a whole mental meltdown. Yes, we still would have won that series. In my opinion, we still would have won that series if we had regular Ben Simmons. And not even all-star Ben. Not even all-star Ben. Give me regular Ben. Steph Curry was scoring like 20-something points a game.
When Embiid has when they bring a hard double on Embiid and he throws the ball to an empty space, that's not the fault of the point guard.
Because that's the space where your point guard was supposed to be, but he ran.
Listen, Tim. I've always criticized B's decision making out the double team. So it is some truth to that. It is some truth to that. However, if Ben was playing at regular Ben, I could almost assure you B ain't getting 16 turnovers. He might get
Mark 8. Told me to go to bed.
He might. You need to. He might get 8. He might even get 10. He's not getting 16 turnovers if your point guard. If you think if B gets 16 turnovers, he playing with Chris Paul, or if he playing with Lou Will. If Lou Will was our point guard, B ain't getting those 16 turnovers. So stop this. Like, I hear what you're saying. It's some culpability for B, but you doing too much. Ben is the one who had a historic collapse. This is a historic proportion
right now for Dame Lillard, and I build a team around Dame and Ben.
Wait. You said trade Embiid for Dame?
Yep.
Then basically you bring Portland here. and be the same thing that's over in Portland.
Nope, we'll be a championship with the new Ben Simmons that's coming up at 21.
Can we boot Tim, or I gotta go because
he gonna break your heart. He gonna break your heart.
Stop with the Ben thinking Ben Simmons gonna come back. And Mark and Miz 35. You made a good point. Doxing him, he didn't know how intelligent. I don't know who he's talking about. Paul George was maybe, or Joel. He had no clue Ben had mental problems. He had no clue Ben was mentally fried. And we as Sixers fans knew Ben had a mental non-shooting problem here. No, Doc didn't. He came in blind thinking he can, like all coaches, he's a coach. So he thinks he could coach this dude up to be something. So he found out he can't coach him up at all. And so now they probably talk about trading. His exit interview was probably like, if you don't shoot, if you don't send some videos of you shooting, I'm trading you.
I think they want him to shoot. They want him to. I don't care if Ben does. In my opinion, I think if Ben did do all this improvement, they still getting rid of him because they gonna be like sell high. You're not getting us with this again.
Well, if we can bring in Dame Lillard, then I'm okay with that.
What if we do what?
Trading Ben for Damian?
They're not gonna give you no Dame Lillard for Ben. Unless you got to work out a whole heap of stuff. I mean, you better give up like 4 or 5 picks.
That's fine, but
I will start this team over with just Ben and Dame and put G League players around them, and we'll do better than we did this year.
I absolutely agree with that.
You said with Ben and Dame.
Yeah,
No, but
I mean,
Dame.
B and Dame and a bunch of G League players, and you'll do better than we did this year.
What? I'm about to say, where am I at? Like,
no, I agree with that. If we brought from a top, you say your top two players was B, Dame, and probably Tobias in the mix. At that point, everybody else. I'm just putting a roster together based around them three players, and I could work with that.
I think you can do the same thing with Ben if you've been and Damon on the same team.
No, you can't.
You can't. Success. Well,
you're right, Wesley. We was talking about current games and we still got back to Ben.
You're right. We gotta leave Ben alone. Listen, he's on the off season. He's in London somewhere, man. He's riding around with his model, enjoying his life. While we in crumbs over here. That's what Ben said.
If Ben did the best thing he could do, and that was get out the country, though. That's the one thing I agree with Tim. When Tim said, "Oh yeah,
call me crazy." I'm gonna call you crazy.
I'm gonna call you crazy. I'm gonna call you crazy, Marky.
Marky 215. I'm telling you, wait till Ben next year. We gonna highlight this. We the only ones that believe. Everybody else.
Are we doing a West Coast game? When's that? Tomorrow?
What, Clippers?
Yeah,
they play everything every other day, so they play tomorrow.
To my point, real quick, on my final comments, to go back real quick to that Phoenix game and why they should have used Ayton a little bit more. Do y'all know that Ayton is shooting from the field 70%? He's 7'10" from the field. And no, they're not, because I watched him. And his average is 16 points a game, and you don't exploit the mismatch? Come on, man.
Listen, this is what you got. Sometimes you got to understand about mismatches. Just because you're taller don't mean you could back somebody down. The difference between Horter and Seth is that Horter was able to back Seth down. He could have backed Seth down on end of the rim. I don't think Eaton's that much stronger than the Morris brothers, so he's really not backing him down. So if he posts up 12 feet away from the basket, he's gonna be taking a shot 12 feet away from the basket.
I saw
he might get a foot or two.
I saw him shoot over Zubac several times, and he had several games where he knocked down some mid-range jump shot. But I'm gonna tell you what it is. Chris Paul was too busy trying to find his shot, and he was jacking too much, and he was off, and so was Devin Booker. They was jacking, they was off, and they should have facilitated the offense. This is where your coach got to be like, listen, give it to Ayton and let me see what he got, because y'all Bulls is clearly stinking up the zone. But they didn't, and they lost, and maybe they'll come back.
23. I hope it ain't making a comeback. I can't take another year of COVID. That joint messed up my vacation plans. I need.
So Ephraim got his final thoughts out. Did anybody else got any final thoughts out?
I do want to talk about that Delta. I do want to talk about that Delta variant that's coming back. So we might be on lockdown again, like they are in Italy. Well, I don't think they locked Italy down, but they made everybody wear their face masks again. This is joint corny, man. It is. It's whack.
It is. All right. Before we leave, I do want to give a shout out to our commentator for the Sixers, Mark Zumoff. He retired. So part of your childhood, he's been with us for like almost.
I'm gonna put where you put in the ad back. I'm gonna put in the ad.
An ad.
Play by play.
For the play by play announcement.
Gonna be the shirt Allen Abbey.
Yeah.
No, Zoo man. It would never be. Are you kidding me? That's the AI crossover, baby.
I do
turning
think
garbage into gold.
I actually like Malik Rose when he was down there.
I thought Malik did a good job.
I thought Malik did a good job too. I think Mark Zumoff, though, I think he got a little stale toward the end. Be honest with you, my opinion. Like
that's probably why he retiring though.
Yeah, I think it was time. It was time for a change. Like me personally, unless we bring somebody who trash, I'm not gonna miss him like that. His voice was familiar, so you'll miss the familiarity of his voice. But some of the commentary to me was a little stale. It was time.
Like I heard that you heard him doing the 2001 run with Iris and like the same cliches and everything.
Exactly.
Wayne is over there looking like Big Perk. They should have an eat off.
They said Wayne looking like Big Perk. That's hilarious. Oh man, but
all right, fellas, we'll be back probably end of the week.
Reggie's right. Reggie said Suns ran more half-court sets for Ayton when CP3 was out, and they look more efficient when CP3 was out. CP3 out there stinking it up for him. He might be the reason that they don't go to the finals.
They lost two or 3 games with him in the lineup.
That's your man.
Man, listen, I don't know what you think whatever it takes means, but I'm not doing whatever it takes to bring in Kyle Lowry. If you talking about giving up draft picks,
Lowry.
He's free agent, ain't he? Ain't he free agent?
He's a free agent, so you can sign him if he wants to come here. You could sign him.
He's talking like he went to Supermax though.
Oh no,
What?
That's super
He
crazy.
wants some kind of big money contract. His last contract. He wants something.
All right, y'all. We are out this joint. We'll see y'all. Thanks for coming in the last minute. But thanks for listening to us. We are out. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And hit that notification number because you never know when we appear.